Israel took retaliatory action in Gaza against Hamas and against ordinary Palestinians, in many ways losing a lot of the sympathy that they got on the 7th of October. What Iran has done, in my view, has exposed Iran as the premier enemy of Israel. I think there will be a period after which there will be a strike, there will be retaliation by Israel, there will be an offensive retaliation. Couple of things here. One is the Hamas attacks of October 7th exposed Israel's security vulnerabilities in a way that it has never done before. Second, Israel took retaliatory action in Gaza against Hamas and against ordinary Palestinians, in many ways losing a lot of the sympathy that they got on the 7th of October. The Iran attack did two things. One, it restored to a great degree Israel's reputation of a successful security state. 99% of the missiles and drones that were directed against Israel were brought down. There was minimal damage to Israel. What Iran has done, in my view, has exposed Iran as the premier enemy of Israel. Hamas is only an Iranian cutout now. Gaza, in many ways, has become a sideshow because the world is now focused on whether two sovereign states, Israel and Iran, are going to war with each other. The real question at this point is, what kind of a retaliation will Israel do against Iran? Because I honestly cannot see how Israel is going to avoid a retaliation. I don't think we can give any timeline. Israel has already said that it will retaliate, that they have no option but to retaliate. And this was said at the level of the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant, to his American counterparts yesterday. So a retaliation is going to be built into what Israel will do. When it will do it, how it will do it, we don't. What we can say with some degree of certainty is that Israel is no longer alone, in the sense that the kind of attack, the strike that the Iranians conducted has brought almost all of Israel's allies together. Because nobody, that degree of attack would have been impossible to deter by any one country. And you notice the number of countries that actually came together to help Israel deter those attacks. So I think Iran is more isolated today than Israel is. Israel isn't. So if you look at the White House statement, it said only very clearly that the US would take no part in an offensive retaliation by Israel. The effort by the G7, by everybody, is for this to end here, for both sides to step back. I think it will be difficult for Israel to do that um, for any length of time. I think there will be a period after which there will be a strike, there will be retaliation by Israel, there will be an offensive retaliation. I also think that in the region, the other powers of the region are all competitors, rivals to Iran. And they wouldn't want to see an Iran that is a premier power in that region. I think we cannot say with any degree of certainty, sure, because there is an escalation is built into the Iranian action. Iran itself has warned of another stronger reaction if Israel reacts, which basically means that spiral is in place. The escalatory spiral is in place. What will it take to bring the two sides from the edge of war? I don't know. Can think of a number of scenarios, but at this point, I don't see any good options that come out of that. I would say that there are still powers that can influence Israel. Actually, there's only one power that can influence Israel to stop the war, to stop the escalatory spiral. Within Israel, can Netanyahu live with a non-retaliation? Can he live with it politically in Israel? I am not sure. Yeah, I mean, you can see a whole a global axis has been built up. It's Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, sometimes with Qatar and sometimes with Turkey playing middle roles. But you can see this axis has been created. Turkey values its membership of NATO very much. In this, I would say that the way that the tensions can come down is if the Islamic world, the Sunni Islamic world, because what we are also looking at is a Saudi Arabia versus Iran, or rather a Sunni versus Shia, or an Arab versus Persian. Is the only way this can be stopped is if the Sunni, if the Islamic world, the Sunni Islamic world presents a united front. Because in Iran's allies are the Bahrain royal family, but Bahrain has signed the Abraham Accords with Israel. It has Qatar, but Qatar is also is the US's biggest base in the region. So on the other side, if you notice the fact that Jordan and apparently Saudi Arabia helped Israel deter the Iranian attack, I think you can clearly see the fault lines. Well, I don't know about the tightrope walk, but this is going to be very difficult for India. I don't think India can condone the Iranian strikes at all. India has called for de-escalation, has called for an end of hostilities. That is very much similar to what the Chinese have said. But I don't see India, either taking sides India's biggest concern will be a huge diaspora, the economic opportunities lost for the diaspora in open hostility in that region, and energy, connectivity, you name it, markets, everything goes through that region. So yeah, India has a huge stakes in that region. And I think this would be very, very difficult for India. Holding up alliances in the region. It's the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords that were signed with 4-5 countries and Israel, that's holding up the region at this point. Not much, except that, except that in Israel, Netanyahu's future, political future, is dependent on what he's doing now. I mean, Netanyahu stayed with the offensive in Gaza because that was the only way he could protect his political space. With these strikes, I think Netanyahu has recovered some of that space. But if Israel cannot retaliate, Netanyahu will go down. Size in this case doesn't matter. 2, Israel is technologically decades ahead. In terms of defense, Israel is much, much further ahead. And Israel has allies like the US, the UK, half of Europe, half of the Sunni Arab world. So I don't see, Israel is not alone. Iran, on the other hand, is not in a good place. It's not just, they've lashed out at Israel, but remember 3 months ago, they had done strikes on Pakistan because they were chasing this Jaish al-Adl, this jihadi group who they accused Pakistan of harboring. They didn't expect Pakistan to retaliate either. Pakistan did, and Pakistan had to. So that's one. Iran has seen a lot of ISIS activity against itself in the last few months. Iran's internal security is not in a good shape. I mean, just last week, there was a 17-hour battle between ISIS and, or with the Jaish al-Adl people, and the IRGC in Chabahar and in Sistan, Balochistan. So, not like Iran has a lot of room to maneuver. See, Iran's got its proxies. Iran's got the Hezbollah, it's got the Islamic resistance in Iraq, it's got the Houthis, it's got the Hamas, it's got all these people are all Iran proxies. So they will create problems. But taking on a jihadi entity and taking on a full sovereign state, very different.